to the Bears Huddle podcast. I'm Aaron James, and this is your UK take on all things Chicago Bears. Guys, we are careering towards Sunday. We are heading to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. A game that will be competitive. A game where we've got to stop Ashton Genty, which, considering our defense sucks at stopping the run, it's going to be pretty hard. But hey, we'll get to that. We're going to talk offense. And are the Raiders running scared of Caleb Williams? Is Caleb's progression finally showing that we have the QB to lead this team forward for the future? Are the Bajan baddies finally going to shut their mouths and stop hating on Caleb? I doubt it, but there we go. We're going to talk all things Caleb. We're going to talk all things Bears offense. Now, look, let's get some things and some facts and some stats out there. And these are facts. These are NFL statistics. They are facts. They are indisputable. There is no inaccuracies in this. This is down to pure data. So let's look at these pure data facts. The Bears rank 10th in the NFL for total offense. 10th out of 32, guys. It's pretty good, considering the teams ahead of us. If you look at total offense, the teams that are ahead of us in terms of those offensive statistics, in terms of the top 10 in yards per game, this is offensive yards per game. You are taking ahead of us at this moment in time. The Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, Indianapolis Colts, who are on an absolute flyer at this start of this season, the Detroit Lions, who we lost to, the Cowboys, who we stopped, the Rams and Chargers, both who are playing some good football at the start of the season, the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Commanders, and then it is us in 10th. We average 347 yards per game. We rank 11th in passing with 233.7 yards per game. Ahead of us are the Niners, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Colts, the Bills, the Raiders, interestingly enough, with Geno Smith, Patriots, Lions, Giants, Rams. Although Caleb Williams is second in passing touchdowns, joint with Jared Goff at this present moment in time. Rushing, well, no surprise that we only rank 15th in rushing. It's not as bad as I actually thought it was going to be. I've got to say that when I looked at the rushing statistic, I thought it would be a lot worse than this. We average 113.3 yards per game, ranked sort of dead middle of the NFL, which to me is a bit of a surprise. Like I said, I thought we'd be sort of bottom half, given how much our run game sucks. So I suppose one testimony is that if we can actually get our run game going, how much of an improvement could that lead to with this offense? In terms of points scored, guys, we rank 9th in the NFL currently, averaging 25.3 points per game. Teams ahead of us, the Baltimore Ravens, who've had some pretty big wins, or big defeats actually. The Lions, the Colts, the Bills, the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, who are actually only 0.4 ahead of us. They average 25.7 points per game. So, look, it is not all bad. Jaden Daniels is Washington Commanders 26.7. Maybe Jaden Daniels isn't as much of an improvement on Caleb as some Bears fans will think they are right in saying. Look, Caleb, I think, obviously is progressing. He is making progress. And yes, they beat the Cowboys. And look, I'm not going to come out and tell you that the Cowboys are an all-conquering team. They're not. They're not going to be a good team this year. Their defense is not great. But it's all now about Caleb following up that great start against the Cowboys with another great start against the Raiders. And I think he can do that. The Raiders do have a better pass rush. Don't get me wrong. They've got Max Crosby, who is fantastic. And given the fact that our offensive line, particularly Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright, the two tackles have really struggled this season so far. Although Braxton Jones did play a lot better against the Cowboys. I think that's a worry coming up against Max Crosby, depending obviously where he lines up. You've got a situation there where Theo Benedette could come in. I think Theo Benedette has done exceptionally well when he's deputised for both Darnell Wright and for Braxton Jones, and I think as the season progresses, you could even see Theo Benedette move into that starting role. But on Caleb, Ben Johnson has been speaking, and this is what Ben had to say. He said, I see him playing the game with his feet much more so than what we had in the spring or during training camp. This is what he told the beautifully wonderful, I love Courtney Cronin. He's trying to tie the number one in his progression with his first hitch, number two with his second hitch, and we're trying to throw on time a lot more often than maybe we were initially. I see it coming along. Now, Ben Johnson, like we've said a number of times, is, I think, one of the foremost offensive minds in the NFL. A guy who I think has got the potential to be up there with the Sean McVays, the Kyle Shanahans of this world. He's seeing progression. He's seeing his quarterback move forward. He's seeing Caleb get better. We know that Caleb has the skills. We know that Caleb has the talent. We know that Caleb has the ability. This guy is a number 1 overall pick, a former Heisman Trophy winner. He's a good player. That flea flicker throw where he throws off his back foot, flat-footed, 65 yards down to the man Luther Burden. He's understanding with Roma Dunze growing, looking fantastic, looking top-notch. That quality understanding is coming along. There is a real clear development here from Caleb, really moving forward at this present moment in time. Now, in terms of this situation, with Caleb, one of the Raiders veterans has been talking about Caleb Williams and speaking about the Chicago quarterback. He's talked about the fact that it will be a challenge to contain Caleb Williams on Sunday. Now, one of the things that some people have suggested is that the Raiders, as well as obviously trying to get after him and sack him, he obviously came off his first game with no sacks at the weekend, will have tried and fence him in because they believe that when he's given a bit more independence to go out and create, a bit more freestyly, he is even better. Obviously, Sunday he did exceptionally well, completed 19 of 28 passes for 298 yards and 4 TDs. Could have easily been 5. A very strong performance. Now, Thomas Booker IV, who is a Raiders defensive lineman, a veteran Raiders defensive lineman, has been talking about Caleb Williams. He said this: I think Williams is starting to kind of figure it out when he should stay in the pocket and when he should get out of there. In terms of being improvisational and scrambling, he can really make plays on the move. For us, it's about containing him and creating as many opportunities as possible to keep him in the pocket so he doesn't get out and run wild. That's what we'll be focusing on this week. I did watch him a lot at USC and had a chance to see how he's developed. Now, look, Booker obviously talking very about the fact that the Raiders are going to come after him. They're going to try and hold him in there. They're worried about, obviously, that improvisational ability that he has. That Ben Johnson will obviously try and exploit through his play calling. Caleb, like I said, is developing. He is coming on. The progression is clear to see, and his haters need to get back into their boxes. Raiders head coach Pete Carroll has also been talking about Caleb. He said he's a very, very special athlete. He's got great sense, great awareness, and throwing the football and running the football. He's a prolific scrambler, and by the time we check out his years, he's really good, and he throws really well on the run too. The Bears have a really nice system. You can see it's coming through already. Ben Johnson is doing a nice job teaching these guys what he believes in is important in the offense. You can see there are a lot of changes from last year. Caleb can do whatever you want him to do, so he's a very dangerous player against you. So look, I honestly believe that there is a real sort of worry within the Raiders organization about Caleb and what he brings to the party on Sunday. There is a real, I think, fear that they've got to get after him. They've got to contain him, or else they are going to really suffer. We have the weapons to hurt them. I mean, let's face it, even if Colston Loveland is out, which he looks likely to be, you've got a situation where you've still got Roma Dunze, you've still got Olamide Zacchaeus, you've still got Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. There's enough threats there. Now, the one concern going into this weekend's game is that Bears initial injury report, obviously, which showed a number of players not practicing. Now, we did see last week that obviously that injury report changed and progressed as the week came on, and you've got to hope that there will be obviously development in that. There will be players come back to fitness, but coming off the injury report again yesterday, this is what's going to make the game even harder, is that TJ Edwards is still out. Did not practice. Kyle Gordon, despite him kind of suggesting he might be returning, is also out. Grady Jarrett out again, although he did have this last week and came back towards the end of the week. Colston Loveland did not practice. Darnell Wright did not practice. Could this be Theo Benedet's opportunity? Possibly. Jalen Jones limited. Cole Kmet limited. and DeAndre Swift limited. Certainly Cole Kmet, we've got to hope that he is back, especially if Loveland is out, because Durham Smythe is not the answer at tight end. DeMarco Jackson was in full. He was a guy who missed, obviously, last week. So, worries there. And I think the one thing that could hurt the Bears is that injury report, even with Caleb growing and developing as he is. Guys, look, Caleb is there. Caleb is back. Caleb will, I think, continue to progress and I think can absolutely burn the Raiders this Sunday. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Bear down.